talking to a camera is really strange. I don't like my appearance. I don't like the sound of my voice because I'm congested. Well, I don't like it normally, but I'm also congested, which makes it worse. But there's enough of you out there who want this information, so I'm going to try to just ignore this and try to get you this information. I'm also not great at the camera work, but I'm going to try my best to be smooth and not make you seasick. I'll try to zoom out a little more too. So, what am I doing today? I am starting seeds. I have my seed starting tray. What I like to do, let me back you up a little bit more even. I have, this one's actually kind of dirty still, but I have a bottom tray that has no holes. It's big, there. And I have another tray. This one, okay, this technically doesn't have holes, but it's been abused, and so it's got some leakage holes, like right here is one. So it does actually leak, that's why I do the double tray, but you can actually buy ones that specifically have holes. I don't think it's necessary. I just want the one. These are kind of flimsy also. I know that some companies make really nice sturdy ones. Bootstrap Farmer is one of them. I don't actually have any Bootstrap Farmer, but I want them. After we move, I hope to invest in them. They're a little bit more expensive, but you can reuse them over and over and over. Whereas these are a little flimsier. These are just the cheap ones that you get at like the garden center at the store. But this is how I like to start my seeds. I have my tray. I put these little inserts. They're like 1 inch by 2 inch-ish. I don't know, because it tapers, it gets narrower at the bottom, so whatever. These are reused from last year. I do sometimes cut them, so I have like 100 of these that are actually cut, because it's easier when I'm in the garden to work with this instead of working with this. It gets really heavy when it's wet and floppy, so eventually they almost all end up cut like that. So, seeds. That's the other thing I have on my table here. I have this large shoe bin full of seeds. Alright, it's hard to get me and the bin in the frame. Okay, so what I have done is I looked at a couple of different seed starting charts. I use a variety to kind of guess. The almanac, so you need to find your first or last frost date, in the spring is last frost date. Once you know your last frost date, you can look at your seed packet. Let me pull one out as an example. This one, it says 10 to 12 weeks before your last frost. Okay, so you count your last frost date. For me, according to the Farmer's Almanac on their website, based on my zip code, is April 1st. I don't believe you. I don't trust it. When I put in my zip code, the closest it pulls up is actually Everett, which is different from me because they're closer to the water, so they tend to probably get a different microclimate than what I am because I'm north of Everett. I don't trust April 1st. I think the last few years I operated off of like April 6th or 7th, which is like a full week after that. But still, you never really know. This is all just an educated guess. So that's why I use a few different charts to decide when I should plant things. So I go by the seed packet. I also have this really cool Clyde's Garden Planner. This is neat because, make sure I'm on the right one. Yeah, because it has spring on one side and fall on the other side. So on the spring side, you see the, if I can find it, this red line, that's your frost date. So you can slide it depending on where you are. And for me, I go to April 1st. And then that will tell you, you see the list of things, different plants, and that will tell you when to start indoors. That's what SI means, indoor. And then FP is the first planting outdoors. So I can look at that. Sorry, it's not focused. You can get these really cheaply at like Amazon. Anyway, so then there's like January, February, March, April, and so on. That way you know what to plant when. I also, in 2019, found this really great website. I can't remember what it was called, but it had these really cool printables, and it shows you, it's color coded. There's blue, green, and yellow. Blue is to sow indoors. I don't know if it'll focus enough for you to see that, but blue is sow indoors, green is to sow outdoors, and this yellow or orange is when you harvest. And so it again has the list, has the list of all the different types of plants and their things, and when to plant them, when to harvest them. And it's really cool. It goes all the way down. It actually went onto the back just a little bit, but and I've used this for a few years. I laminated it so it would last. I really wish I knew where I got it from, because there's no, like, you know how sometimes there's a web address at the bottom when you print things? There's no web address at the bottom. It did not tell me. So I would have to go hunting to try to find it for you. But you can find this stuff online. Just look for it. A lot of it's based on your zip code. You just put in your zip code and they'll tell you. There's a lot of free information. You really don't have to spend a whole lot of money. I think these are like $3 or something. The Clydes. That's Clyde. C-L-Y-D-E. Anyway, this one is actually from Roots and Refuge, which is one of my favorite gardening channels. If you haven't followed them, you should check them out. They're my favorite. Okay, so based on that, looking at all these dates, I went through my entire seed collection, which this is not. I didn't bring them out. They're actually in the garage. I have these art bins that have dividers, and I have them grouped by section of like root vegetables, beans and peas and herbs. Those kinds of things are all in their own little section. Anyway, I went through all those, decided what I wanted to plant this year, and then I grouped them by start date. So starting today, which is January 22nd, these are the things that I want to start today. And then I decided to do one day a week I'm going to devote to this task. So for every week between now and April, I have an envelope full of seeds that need to be started. Now some of these, of course, can be planted outside. In fact, I have them labeled SI for start indoor, and direct sow, DS for direct sow, for things that I'm going to be planting outside, which will be quite a while, like peas, I think. Yeah, I have an entire envelope that doesn't close of peas. That's because I save a lot of my own seeds as well, so they're bulky and they take up a lot of space. And I love them, so we're going to have lots of peas. But those don't go in a seed starting tray, they go in the ground. But they're at least, I have it all planned out, see. So every week I have a new envelope. Every week I have a new envelope that I can just pull out. Today's day, plant these seeds. Today I have, let's see, do this in order here. I have a variety of lettuces. I really don't, I try to mix them up, I don't care, but I have In My Gardener seeds. I have, oh, where is it? There it is. Baker Creek, that's really pretty purple. I had a whole bunch of my own lettuce seeds, but I used it all last year, so. And I did not save any seed this year. Now, I know I need to save more next year, so that's cool. The only downside is this one. This is called slow bolt lettuce. Bolting in plants means that it is going to seed. So if it's slow to bolt, I won't get any seeds for a while. And we're moving probably mid-June, so I may or may not actually get lettuce seeds. I may have to buy more lettuce seeds. That's okay. They're easy to find for now. So I also have leeks. which I've never actually grown before, and I think that they will be really fun to try. And some Black Beauty eggplant. Oh yeah, and one more, rosemary. Rosemary is the one that I said earlier that's 10 to 12 weeks. Rosemary is a pretty slow grower. I use it a lot when I cook. I actually really like rosemary, but it takes a long time to grow. And I have some in a little pot on my windowsill. It's just super slow. So I'm excited to have this in a spot in the garden. And if it survives the winter, I don't know if it will. It might be there next year too. Okay, so to start my seeds, I have potting mix. Now there's a lot of debate over what to put your seeds in. You can buy seed starting mix, which is just basically, well, the contents vary, but it's a nice light fluffy soil mix that's easy for the roots to get into, and it holds moisture up close to the roots where the plant needs it the most, so it doesn't dry out while it's trying to grow. You could go that way, but the problem is those material, what's the word I'm looking for? Not dirt, because that's not right either. It's not soil, because it's not medium. That particular medium doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it, so you can get by for a little while, but the plant's going to be hungry. It's going to need some nutrients. So you'll have to add some kind of fertilizer, or, because these are so small, these little cells are so small anyway, you'll need to up pot to something bigger in a more nutrient dense soil, like a potting mix or compost. I have in the past mixed compost with seed starting mix, and that works really well. I've done that a lot. I make my own compost, so I do sift it. Like I take a, I guess it's technically called a spider, the kitchen tool they use to get like pasta and things out. I use that to sift it so that the big particles that are not done breaking down aren't impeding the growth of my tiny little seedlings. But that is really time consuming, and I haven't actually harvested any compost yet this year from my chicken run. So I bought a bag of just potting soil. See if I can get it for you. I'm going to try to move you. Okay. So this, I don't know if you can see that. I'm bad at camera ink. Okay, this is just potting soil. It's organic potting soil or potting mix. So you would put this like if you had an indoor plant. This is the kind of thing you would fill your pots with. It's got built-in nutrients. It's got some these little white things with perlite. These are just to help me keep it fluffy and keep it aerated, so it's not dense and clumped. It lasts a while. It's not going to last forever. Like, you can't leave your plants in it forever. Those of you who have, sorry, I'm going to put this back. Okay. Those of you who have indoor plants, you know that you do have to feed them eventually. They're trapped in a pot. They can't go out and get dinner, you know. So you do have to feed them eventually. But this should last until I get them in the ground. It should be enough nutrients until I get them in the ground. So one thing that I need to do with this is I need to get it wet. It doesn't need to be like dripping wet. You don't want it to be so wet that it's gross and dripping. You just want it to be like a damp sponge. It's already slightly damp from just being in the bag, but I want it a little bit more damp. So give me just a second. I'm going to put some water in my bucket and then stir it up. Okay, so I just put some water in my bucket here, and just have a wooden spoon. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. We're not going for like scientifically accurate ratios. I'm not measuring anything or weighing anything. It's not baking. Okay, so it is, I can feel it with my hand that it is a little bit wetter. It's holding itself together. You can't see it. Sorry. Okay, so when I squeeze it, it holds its shape. It's just wet enough. It's not dripping. If I were to squeeze this and it was dripping, that would be too wet. But it's just slightly damp. That's what we want. And the reason for that is if I put all these seeds in and then go to water it, I could displace the seeds. Let's make it straight. Could accidentally wash the seeds away. Some of them are pretty small. We don't want to lose them. It also just gives the seed, what's the word I'm looking for? Like it encapsulates it with that moisture. Goes all the way around it so that I don't have to worry about watering immediately. I do prefer also to bottom water, and that just means I'm going to put water in the bottom of my tray. Ooh, can I show you? There you go. I wonder if I can bring you in to show you this a little closer. What I actually do, because it's kind of fun. Well, I guess that's relative. I think it's fun. So I take my tray, I take my soil, and I just put it in like that. And then just, I don't know, there's something satisfying about filling it. And I will take my fingers and kind of gently, you don't want to pack it down, but you want to make sure that there's no voids. You know what I mean by voids, like a space or a gap in the soil. You just want to make sure that you're filling it completely, but you're not packing it in. You're not trying to make a mold or anything. So I'm going to do that with all of these, and then I'll show you how I put the seeds in. Okay, I have all of my little cells filled with soil. I've changed the camera angle so you don't have to look at my mug. You can look at the seeds instead. What I do first is I'm going to take some little plastic tags, which you can buy these, or you can like just cut up anything. Like I've seen people use milk jugs or like soda bottles or anything like plastic. Just cut it into a shape that's easy to get in and out of the thing, and then I just use a Sharpie, or I've heard pencil works really well too, but I just use a Sharpie. And I'm going to label what I'm planting. So I'm going to start with my rosemary. I try to color code them. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But for herbs, I usually use the teal or green color, but I have blue. It's fine. I'm telling you it doesn't matter because I need to tell myself that it doesn't matter. So I'm going to write rosemary on here. Make sure I do spell it right because I don't want it to be messed up. Okay, so I write rosemary on my little tag, and then I stick it just in the top corner. It doesn't matter. It could go this way or it could go this way. It could go that way. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm going to do it this way today. Okay, I got my little tag in there so I know what I'm planting. And then I take, sorry, I'm looking for it. I take my pencil. You can use anything with a point on it. They make these little things called dibbers that basically do this, only they're made for this job only, and I just don't want to spend that kind of money. So I just take a pencil and I'm going to make like a little hole, like a little well. Not very deep, just like for this particular seed, they're pretty small. It actually says on here, sorry, some of them say and some of them don't. Every seed packet's a little different, so it does take a minute to translate it. Oh, this one doesn't really say. Plant in an area that gets partial sun. Whatever. The general rule is, as far as depth goes, you want to plant it 2 times the size, 2 times the width of your seed. Well, these seeds are so tiny, so really you don't need any depth, hardly. So I'm just basically making a shallow little divot in the soil, just a place for the seed to catch so it doesn't roll off into the corner or something. Okay, and then I'm going to take my seeds and I'm going to drop like 2 or 3 per thing, just because there's always a chance that they don't sprout. And I tend to be really miserly with my seeds. I hate planting extra seeds in a thing just to discard it later. That drives me nuts. But it is the most efficient method. It does work better. I've tried. I have experimented. It does actually help to plant a few extra seeds just in case they don't germinate, so you don't have to go back and start over. Okay, so there's my rosemary. All I'm going to do now is I'm just going to barely cover it back up. I'm not putting hardly any pressure. I'm just mostly making sure that they're not going to like dry out by being exposed to the air. Most seeds don't need sunlight to germinate. There are a couple that you really do need to surface sow because they need the sunlight to help break down that seed case so that the seed can open up and come out. That's rare though. The majority of seeds need water to break down the outside of the seed so that it can come out. Okay, so next I'm going to do eggplant. I'm not sowing a ton. In years past I would have done like this whole thing in rosemary, but again, we're moving, so I just want enough for my garden. I'm not putting a whole lot of effort into growing for other people this year. Sad to say, because I really do love growing seeds for other people. I've sold seed starts, I guess. I've sold plant starts in the past, and it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of time and energy, which I just don't have. So this one I'm going to write eggplant. I don't always write the variety. If this is the only eggplant I'm sowing, I'm not going to bother with varieties because this is the only one. But if I'm doing tomatoes, then I usually do write the variety down because I am curious, because I'm growing more than one. So this one says seed depth 1/4 inch, which is basically nothing. Again, it's just a little divot in the seed, in the soil, excuse me. There we go. I'm sorry this is boring and repetitive. I actually really enjoy it, so I'm sorry. These actually, they're so cool because they look, you probably can't see it because my camera won't focus, but they look a little bit like pepper seeds because they are related. So I'm going to do, because they're a little bigger than the rosemary, I'm going to do 2 seeds per hole because I can tell when I have 2 in my fingers. The rosemary seeds are so small, I can't hardly tell how many I actually have in my fingers. So I'm going to do 2, and then maybe I'll take you along with me when I do it, but I'll discard or clip off the one I don't want. So then I put my extra seeds back in my pocket. There you go. Seed packets usually have like a little sticky right here. Over time it kind of loses its stickiness. You could use a piece of tape just to close that if it doesn't stay shut on its own. Next I'm going to do leeks. What color do I want? I'm going to use blue. I generally do blue for onions and broccoli and all those sort of leeks, I guess. I use red for tomatoes and peppers, and pink for flowers, yellow for squash and cucumbers. But again, as much fun as it is to color code them, it's not necessary. Okay, so I've got my little tag here. I'm going to write leek on here. There we go. Now this one I might actually do 2. Oh, I've got dirt on me. I might do 2 of these 6 cells, so I'd have a total of 12 cells. So I'm going to do 2 tags. Because we like onions in this house, and leeks are sort of in the onion family. They would be nice to have, and you can actually freeze them. So even if we don't eat them right away, we can freeze them and have them in my freezer. Okay. So now I'm going to take my little pencil. Oh wait, first let's look at the seed packet and see if it tells me how deep or shallow it needs to be. So indoors in late winter, set outdoors 6 to 8 weeks before, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't say. So I'm going to look at the seeds, and again, you want your depth to be about twice the width of the seed. I've never done leeks before, so I'm excited to try something new. Okay, they look like onion seeds, which, I mean, makes sense because they're related to the onion. But this is what they look like. They're black Look like little tiny black rocks. Okay, so around 1/4 inch or less. So just a little, like I said, same thing as before, a little divot. I'm just going to divot all of these. Get out of the way. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to cover up my eggplant seeds. Let's do that. Poke, 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 poke. Done. Okay. Now for these. And I'm going to try to do 2 per hole. They're a little harder to tell how many I have. And these, I'm actually, because we have some cold nights coming up, I think I am going to keep these in the house. I have a greenhouse, and I can put heat in it, but I don't trust it. I don't think the heater actually keeps the temperature as high as I really want it to be to get these things germinated, because that's the other thing that seeds need to signal to them that it is time to start growing is heat. Different temperatures for different seeds. The eggplant, being related to the pepper, is going to need probably something close to 75 to 80 degrees. I don't have that right now. I do have little heating mats that will help them grow. But I may not get perfect germination because I don't have that kind of heat. But I should at least get some. And that's all I really need. I just need 1 or 2 eggplant plants because my family doesn't like eggplant. I like it. So I don't need to grow very much of it. That's another thing about seed starting or deciding how much of something that you're going to grow. Think about what you're going to do with it. Are you going to eat it? Are you going to give it away? Are you going to fill a basket full of it and then realize you have no way to cook it and it's going to just go to the chickens? That happens to me more often than not, or more often than I'd like to admit. But we try not to waste anything. I figure going to the chickens is not technically wasteful. So now I'm going to do lettuces, and then I'll continue my thoughts. Let's do this slow bolt. And that's this one. Lettuce. It's just green. It's green lettuce. What more do you need to know? Start indoors, I tend to do both with my lettuce. I like to start indoors, and I do like to direct sow it. I do the high intensity, where you plant a lot in a row, and it grows up nice and big, and then you can just do cut, like you cut it, and then you can come back. Once it grows back, cut and come again. But I can't plant anything right now because it's going to freeze. So I can start some in these trays and then take them to the garden and have a head start. That's what I'm after, a head start. Now these seeds are pretty tiny. It doesn't say Oh, here it says 1/4 inch deep, but that's still, again, kind of just a divot is all I need. These are not like head lettuce, so it's really not the end of the world if I get a few of them in one place. Oh, I should label. Yeah, I got to talking. Where'd the blue ones go? Did I use them all? I think I did. Alright, well, lettuce is going to be pink right now, because that's what I have. Here's my pink one. I have a whole box of them somewhere. I just didn't take the time to go find it. So we're just going to write green lettuce. And the color really is just so that when I go to plant it, I can plant it so it looks pretty, so I can like alternate between the green and the red, and I think that looks nice. I'm going to do 2 of these. Well, if I do 2, never mind. I'm going to do 1 of these, 1 of the red, and then 2 of the mix. I'll do red lettuce here, and then I'll do lettuce mix. What I usually do is I just throw all of them together in a big bowl and just sow them all at once. But like I said, it's too early in the season for that. I can't do that right now. So, oh, and I'm out of pink. Well, fine then. Yellow it is. Doesn't matter. Okay. This one's a little bent. See, I reuse these. You can tell because this one's, it's a little bent. That's right. It'll work just fine. And now we go and divot all of these. It's kind of the most annoying part, I think. Because I always forget, and then I go to plant and go, oh, whoops, I need to do that part. Otherwise, like I said, the seed could just roll off. Oh, I don't need to. Okay. Starting with green. Green. I'm not actually sick, you guys. I'm just, it's this place. It's so cold and wet. Once I get a cold, it never really goes away until it starts to warm up. It's so annoying. I start to feel like I'm getting better, and then it comes back, and I am congested again, and then I'm starting to feel better, and then it comes back, and I'm congested. It's just, it never ends. It's too wet here. I can't handle it. Okay, so now we're going to do this Merlot. Now this was free. If you order from Baker Creek, not affiliated, but I do like them. If you order from them, if you order enough, you get a free seed packet. So, sure, why not? I like lettuce. I like different kinds of lettuce. Okay, so what's really cool is the green lettuce seeds were like a dark grayish brown color. The red lettuce seeds are actually kind of white. So it's kind of opposite from what I think it should be. But hey, I don't mind if it's free lettuce. Let's do it. That's the thing, like, you gotta think of it this way too. Like, they're giving you free food. It's seeds, but it is food too. So it's free groceries in your mailbox. You just gotta add soil, water, and sunlight. And time, I guess, too. Okay, next is, this is a mix, salad bowl mix. And this is how I usually grow my lettuce. I just throw them all together and sow them super densely in rows. And then they grow that way, and you can just harvest them as you need and make a salad. We have so much salad in the spring and summer. I love it. I miss it so much. Buying it from the store is just not the same as going, hey, let's have salad for dinner, and going out to the garden and harvesting your dinner right there on the spot. Keep those beneficial microbes alive, and you also don't want it to get hydrophobic, I think it's called. I forget what the actual science term is. It's like hydrolytic is the one where it likes water, and the other one is when it doesn't. So what happens is when soil gets too dry, sorry, I'm terrible cameraman. When soil gets too dry, it basically repels water. Like, you've seen water like bead off the soil and not soak in. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to avoid. I want the water to soak into the soil like a sponge. And that only happens if the soil is healthy and slightly damp. So we're going to try to keep these ones that don't have seeds in them just as damp as the ones that do, so that next week when I come to plant seeds, this soil is still good and I can plant into it. So, see me again next week for more seeds. This is all we have for this week. I wanted to take a minute just to talk about why I'm doing like a YouTube channel. Oh my gosh, my lamp almost just fell over. Are you okay, lamp? Okay, sorry. I don't know, people ask me all the time for advice and want to know what I'm doing and how to do it, and I could refer them to all these great resources. There are plenty of them. I mean, that's where I learned a lot of this stuff, is from those resources. But I also feel like a personal connection when I'm helping people. Like, it fills me with so much joy to answer their questions. Excuse me. Okay, sorry, it's dry in here. My fireplace is going and it's dried up all the air, which is supposed to help me, not make me cough. I digress. Anyway, it makes me so happy it makes me so happy to spread the knowledge and the things that I've learned. I can't take any credit for the things I've learned because I learned them from other people. but I can share them. So if I'm just the vessel that temporarily holds the information so I can pour it out to you guys, that's cool. I'm down with that. I will be happy to be that. Like I said, I can't take any credit for it, but I'm happy to share what I know. If you have any questions at all, I guess leave them in the comments. I'm going to try to film a video every week if I can. Like I said before, we are moving. So this is our last year gardening at this house. It's a little sad. I admit I am sad because this is my first real garden, this house. In the past, I've grown in containers on my back porch. I've grown in bins, like, you know, the big Rubbermaid storage bins. I've used those as containers. David actually built me some wooden planters for our back porch when we lived in the townhouse in Mifflinburg, Pennsylvania. Those were amazing. I love those. So this is my first real garden, and we've been doing this for a few years now, and I just love it. And so it is sad to say goodbye to it, but I'm hoping that I'm going to leave this garden beautiful and lush for the new owners, and I'm hoping that they'll see the value of it and not just like rip it out. Which they might do that, I don't know, and that's fine, it's theirs, they can do what they want. But with the cost of groceries these days and the worries about, you know, pesticides and whatever, if I grow an organic garden and someone sees that as something amazing, maybe they'll be more excited to buy this house and help us on our way to buy a bigger property so we can have a bigger garden and maybe some animals. That's our future. We're hoping to farm more like a homestead. We'll see. I'm hearing noises. So, like I said, Luke, I'm trying to talk to the camera. It is so awkward talking to a camera. I'm so afraid someone's gonna walk in on me and think I'm crazy. Which I am. My dog is barking. Okay, so I will try to film a little bit every week, maybe show you some of the things we're doing to the house to get it ready for sale, and kind of walk you through that process. Eventually we're going to be on the road. It would be really fun if I could film that too, and just pieces of it, obviously, not the whole thing, what we're doing and what kind of property we're checking out, different areas. We're hoping to see some national monuments and national parks and kind of make it like an educational road trip for the kids. We'll see, because we also want to get land. Like, we want to be settled before winter if we can, because living in an RV over winter doesn't sound very fun. So it would be really nice if we had our property nailed down then. Anyway, I can't commit too much because it could change. These plans are not solid. I'll try to share them as we make them, so you'll get to follow along. In the meantime, we're going to grow a beautiful garden, and I'm so excited. We were originally going to take out the front yard garden and just turn it back into lawn, and that broke my heart. I literally cried. I was like, I put it off. We were going to do it this winter, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off. Like, I can't do it. It's so pretty. Why would anybody want grass when they could have this beautiful garden? So we decided we're going to go ahead and keep it and plant it out like I would normally and just make it beautiful. And who knows, the right person may just, I don't know, fall head over heels in love with it and buy our house for more than we're asking. I don't know, maybe. It might be just wishful thinking. We also, the neighbor across the street is a landscaper, and so we're pretty friendly with them. They have a son that plays with our son, so they're friends. It'd be really cool if we could write into the contract that if they really wanted the front yard turned back into a lawn, that he would do it for whatever amount included in the sale. So we'll see. We got to talk to him about it and see what he thinks. I think they think we're crazy for having the garden to begin with, and he's a landscaper, so who knows. Okay, so that's all for this video. I talked a lot. I'm sorry. I will try not to talk as much in the next videos. I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try to do this every week. So Sunday seed day, Sunday seed day, as Justin Rhodes would say. He's another one of the YouTubers I like to follow. So I'm only committing one day a week to actually starting seeds instead of trying to do it every few days. So let's see how that goes. There's so many other things to do. I don't have a good way to sign off. Like all the other YouTube channels I watch, they say like, you know, have a nice day, or what's a refuge one is I bless you, or something. I don't have a tag. Do you have any ideas? Suggest an idea of a tagline for my videos, because I don't know. I can just say goodbye, see you next time. Have a good night. I guess it's actually like, it's almost 10 o'clock at night. I had to wait till my kids went to bed to do this video. Good night. There's my doggy Luke. Hi Luke, you're on camera.